What is up, everybody? Welcome to Trades, where we give technical analysis on different stocks in the stock market, as well as potential buy, hold, or sell opinions on these given stocks. I'd like to preface by saying that I'm not a financial advisor. I am just some random dude on YouTube, so take what I say with a grain of salt. The reason that I started this channel is because a couple of years ago, I had some pretty bad medical issues that put me about $30,000 in debt. And my trick and key to financial freedom was given to me by a couple of friends and family who told me to get into the stock market. And what do you know, a couple of years later, I am completely medical debt free. So if I can pass along some of that information to you guys and leave you off a little bit better than you were before, and then you can do the same for somebody else, that's all I can ask for, man. That'd make me one happy dude. Lastly, if you wouldn't mind dropping a like on the video, it really does help out the channel, and consider subscribing if you'd like to see more content like this. I do post videos daily, multiple times a day, and I do talk about IDEX, Ideonomics Incorporated, quite a bit. So if you'd like to see more information on this, please do join the community here at Trades. With that being said, today we are looking at IDEX, Ideonomics Incorporated. We are going to start off by looking at the 10-day chart here and looking at the overall trend. So you can see here that we started off at about $1.85 and got as low as $1.71, and there was a very heavy price rejection here at $1.71. From there on, it was honestly just straight up. The rest of the day, we got up to $2.05. You saw a pretty steep limit order sell-off here, but the rest of the day we hung out above the volume moving average. So you could call these first 3 days bearish territory, although it seems to be more neutral than anything. You know, we did go up and down throughout the volume moving average, so it was a little bit of a tug of war. But with that being said, the past 1, 2, 3, the past 3 days out of 5 have been bullish. And if you look from December 18th up until yesterday, you know, we started off at $1.73. We got as high as $2.80. Now that is a very solid turnaround, man. That's a 10-day swing of $1.10. Oh man, if you were able to sell out in the pre-market, I'm sure you were a very happy guy. But if you're still around like a lot of us, like I am, you're looking for more. And this is going to be a huge level of resistance that we'll touch on a little bit, but I just wanted to point out to you some different levels that we had to break through first. So this was an old acting level of resistance right here. And if you look at the charts, you can see once this was broken through, we really rocketed up. So we had some price rejection down to this exact level of resistance, which acted as a support since it was above it. And once it bounced off high, man. We really came down on that thing. And now it is acting as a solid level of support for the stock. You can see that we had a double up, 1, 2, then the third time we came back down, dipped below that. So this is a secondary support level. We came back up, and this keeps acting as a very solid level of support. So that is a beautiful thing to see. This old resistance line, we're really going to like that, but I'm going to replace that with a level of support. So we're going to just drop that right here. That'll be our new level of support on this stock. And the new level of resistance that we're going to be looking for, you could have probably guessed this, is going to be this $2.80 price target. Now, if we can break through this $2.80 today, you're going to be looking at $3, and there's no doubt in my mind about that. The way that this stock moves, when it busts through resistance, it usually covers. You know, if you look at patterns, I can't predict the future, but I can tell you what I see in trends and patterns in the stock. When it breaks through resistance lines, you see a pretty hard move. Like, this is probably the highest point for IDEX before it made its move at $1.92, and if we sit here at $1.92, boom, went up to $2.05. So that's a 15-cent swing, which for a penny stock like this is a lot, especially when historically speaking, this stock has always been either a consolidation moving stock or a pump and dump. You know, there's usually not a lot of price action here. Like, look at this. Look how many months we traded between $1.04 and $1.15. You know, there's just not a lot happening there, and it's really nice to see some solid growth, some solid higher lows and higher highs that we're establishing. So let's take a look at the daily charts here. This was yesterday. You can see that we got as low as 243 there and 232 here, but this is a higher low. So even though it was a red day, I'm very happy with how the stock responded to the market, especially because the entire EV sector was getting absolutely massacred, and this thing held up pretty well. It really didn't get beat up too bad, so that's a good sign. I really like the volume and where it's at. If we look at the volume on the 10-day chart, it was actually pretty high, and the volume on the stock has been actually growing day by day, which is good to see. This was Christmas, that's why I only see half of the normal volume here, but it was up a lot yesterday, and I would expect to see that same sort of volume and volatility with the stock today. You are going to probably see some pretty heavy ups and downs, but that is what is going to drive higher price valuations, because volume drives volatility and volatility drives higher price valuations. So we're going to change this to a 1-minute chart again. This is the pre-market. All right, so this was yesterday. We have this acting level of support, which held up pretty well, dipped under, and now in the pre-market, you can see that it's kind of flirting with this a little bit. It's coming up and down, up and down, up and down, right around this level of support. We are currently trading underneath the volume moving average, so if you do want to get into this stock, this is probably a pretty solid time to do so, because I don't think we're really going to come back down to this level unless we break through this level of support pretty hard. And if we do, you're going to be looking at probably about here as a new level of support, 220. So if we come past this, you know, where we're at right now at 237, I would look for that 220 mark as a possible entry point for the stock. Now, if you're holding the stock and you're thinking about selling, well, it really depends on when you bought in. If you bought in at $1.70 and you're sitting right now at 237, that's a pretty solid profit, man. And if you wanted to sell, I wouldn't blame you. However, I wouldn't be selling. I would set a stop loss for probably about $2.25. That way that you can maximize your profits and hold on to that profit. But I do think you should be watching this 280 mark here, because if we can push through this, you're going to see quite a bit of volatility, and I'd imagine you're going to see over $3 on the stock. So I do think there's buying opportunities here. Do look for 232 and 220 as potential entry points, and my exit plan is going to be between 280 and $3, you know, however high it ends up going. That's what I'm going to set my trailing stop loss, is when we can hold above 280 for a day. At least in the short term. I do see IDEX being a big player in the future. In my previous video, I talked about how IDEX had some pretty solid news, and I'll read this off to you. Let me find it real quick. So Ideanomics just bought 2,000 customized BYD electric vehicles for ride-hailing services. So that's a pretty huge deal. They've moved into actual vehicles for the company, actual tangible material, liquidizable assets, which is huge. And I think this is really going to drive the stock price up. And I think that's why you saw it run up so much here in the after hours in the pre-market. You know, that was a pretty solid swing from 225 up to 280. So that's a pretty big deal. And I do see this in the mid to long term reaching, you know, I think this is going to grow out of the penny stock range. I think eventually you're not going to be looking at a penny stock anymore. You're going to be looking at just a big player. You know, this could be the next NEO. This could be the next XPEV, the next Lee. It's really hard to say, but you're never going to know unless you give it a shot. So that is what I have for IDEX today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please drop a like if you enjoyed. It really does help out the channel, and I appreciate your support. And consider subscribing to the channel if you'd love to see more content like this, and join the community here at Trey's Trades. That is all I have for you today, and I will see you all next time. Peace.